Good afternoon and welcome to the Forum for Excellence. My name is Tara Schwab with the Forum for Excellence Planning Committee. I will be the moderator for today's session, and I am joined by Heather Martin, who's providing tech support for us today. This breakout session is transitional instruction, and thank you to Melvin Harrison for being here today. So I have a couple of housekeeping items for us before we get started. Oh yes, thank you. Transitional instructions, results of our work. I'm excited. Thank you so much. So a couple of housekeeping items. We are going to run the attendance the attendance report from Zoom in order to hopefully automatically generate the professional development certificates. So if you don't mind, if your Zoom name on your Zoom screen doesn't reflect your full name, if you don't mind renaming yourself, that would be awesome. If you hover over your Zoom box and then hit the three little dots and hit rename, that will allow us to see that you're here. Also, I'm just about to enable the live transcription. So if you're seeing the closed captioning and you don't want to, you can go down to the closed caption button, the live transcript button on your Zoom screen, on your Zoom controls, and you can change that. So you can turn them off. You can also drag and move those closed captions. Like if you would rather have them at the top of your screen, they're easily moved. You just kind of grab them and drag them across your screen. So also, if you have questions or comments as the session proceeds, please post them in the Zoom chat. So it's the afternoon. Hopefully we're getting a little bit more used to it by now, but we're using all Zoom and we'll be monitoring that. We'll save the chat at the end. We'll do the best to answer all your questions if Melvin has time. And if not, we'll save the chat and make sure to get that to him. So we'll be doing all those things. If you could keep yourself muted, you have the ability to unmute yourself, but if you can refrain from doing so until the Q&A portion or portions, that would be great. You can access today's presentation on the Whova app. This session will be recorded and you can locate the recording on the Forum for Excellence website following the end of the conference, and we'll post the website in the chat, but you can also access it on the Whova app. And again, those professional development certificates will come in the next couple of weeks. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Melvin Harrison. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking your time to present to us today. And you are muted right now, but if you want to unmute yourself and take it away, we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you so much for all of our participants who are here. Thank you, and thank you, Tara and Heather, for providing support and assisting me with this presentation. I'm delighted and excited to be here to talk about and to share with you the results of our work related to transitional instruction that has been happening across the state. That the Community College Board, in partnership with ISBE and the Board of Higher Ed, have been working to make happen and implement across our state. And so this presentation will provide a brief overview of transitional instruction for those of you who may be unfamiliar with it. You'll also learn about some of the results of our work, and we'll talk about that. And we'll talk some about how we have the investments that we've made and the commitments that we've made as ICCB in the support of this work, and what our future work will entail and what will be focused. And so I look forward to engaging with you all, and there will be an opportunity later in this session to engage with the participants here. I'd love to hear where you all are with implementation and so forth. So as we move on, transitional instruction was launched as a part of the post-secondary. Thank you for participating. Thank you. Yes. There we go. So transitional instruction was launched as a part of the Post-Secondary Workforce Readiness Act, with the focus of increasing college and career readiness of students graduating high school. The act calls for a multi-pronged approach, and transitional instruction has been a key component of this act and the work that this act sets to complete. The Illinois Community College Board has been engaged with colleges within our system, our state agency partners, the Illinois State Board of Education and the Illinois Board of Higher Education and school districts across the state to scale this initiative. I want to be clear on what transitional instruction is. First, it is a component of a plan to bring developmental education reform. These are high school classes taught by high school teachers for high school seniors who have been identified as not being on target to complete high school as college ready. These courses are project and task-based and are designed in partnership with community college faculty with the goal of ensuring that students will be successful in the next phase of their educational journey and career. Successful completion of transitional instruction courses satisfy placement into the appropriate gateway course, and students will have the opportunity to bypass having to enroll in developmental coursework, which will ultimately save time and money toward degree completion. Additionally, courses with approved statewide portability are accepted statewide at any community college as satisfying the placement criteria. There are 3 pathways for transitional math. There's the technical math pathway, the quantitative literacy and statistics pathway, and the STEM pathway, which has been implemented and underway for more than 2 years now. And this year, we launched the Transitional English Language Arts Transitional Instruction course. The transitional math pathway, the tech math pathway rather, is intended to prepare students for the gateway course that's required for career and technical education programs. The QL Stats course prepares students for the gateway course required for most liberal arts degrees, and the STEM pathway prepares students for the math required for STEM and health sciences degree programs. The Transitional English course is intended to prepare students for the gateway English and communications courses required primarily for all degrees. If your school or district does not yet offer transitional instruction courses, I encourage you to contact your local community college district to begin developing that course. Earlier this year, the state higher education boards adopted the competencies and course parameters for the transitional English, and you can certainly review that document on the IllinoisTransitionalMath.org website. So here are some implementation results that I wanted to share with you as a result of some of the work that we're engaging in. So yes, Transitional English did launch this fall. Course submissions, the first set of course submissions are due October the 1st, and the portability panel anticipates having some courses to review from institutions that have been piloting transitional instruction courses over time. Right now, there are 37 community college districts. Almost 95% of the just 95% of the community college districts in our state have an approved statewide portability transitional math pathway course. 20 of them have STEM, 20 of them have approved, or 34 of them have approved QL Stats courses, and 4 of them have approved technical math courses. And there are 4 community colleges in our state that have approval for all 3 pathways. Additionally, there are 335 high schools, 335 high schools that offer transitional math courses statewide. 93 high schools offer the STEM pathway, 275 offer the QL Stats pathway, and 17 offer the technical math pathway. So how did we get here? For the last 2 years, ICCB has invested more than $1.2 million to support the implementation, scaling, and piloting of transitional instruction statewide through 3 grant programs that were administered through the Division of Academic Affairs. The FY20 Transitional Math Support Grant provided funds to all 48 of the community colleges in the state and 39 of its community college districts to support the scaling and expansion of transitional math courses in their community college districts. The FY20 Transitional English Pilot Grant funded 12 pilots that ran through the January of 2020 and concluded this past summer at the end of last fiscal year. And that information and the information and the experiences provided from those pilots helped to inform the development of our transitional English competencies and the course parameters that were recently approved, and will guide the development of transitional English courses moving forward. And then we supported and provided funding for the FY21 Transitional Instruction Innovations Grant, which provided funds to support the pilots of transitional instruction innovation in instructional innovation in transitional English and instructional math. This was largely in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And so these funds provided support for for high schools and community colleges to work in concert to bring about ways to be creative in how they offer transitional instruction. How these funds were used, many of the institutions used the funds from these grants to support curricular development and the alignment to the competencies and policies. So some colleges were, well, at the start of the grant program, colleges were on varying levels along their implementation journey and required a variety of different supports. And so they used the resources from these grants to make sure that they developed their curriculum and developed and designed the courses appropriately to align with its competencies. In addition to that, many funded professional learning and training opportunities, not just for the community college faculty, but also for the high school faculty. And so there was a lot of training around task-based instruction. There was a lot of training about just general overviews of what transitional instruction was and who is appropriately, what type of student is appropriate for the transitional instruction courses, training for other instructional strategies and methodologies. So it was used in a variety of ways for training. Also, institutions use these funds to purchase curricular resources and technology and other curricular and other materials necessary to pivot to providing remote instruction and to ensure that students had the access to the appropriate information and resources to for the course to continue on in a remote form. And then, as I said, 12 pilots were funded for transitional English, which that information was used to help inform the competencies and course parameters document. As we move forward in our work, we will focus our work in four key areas. Four key areas. The first will be for professional developments. In partnership with our partners at ISB, professional developments will continue. We realize and acknowledge that more training is needed, particularly in the way of instruction, recruitment, assessment, and other areas. In addition to our initial transition instruction training, which provides an overview of the course competencies, task-based instruction, and the portability process. Advanced and deep dive trainings will be scheduled as well. Some of the topics will include remote teaching strategies, which many of our grant funded programs are providing or informing rather the development of those professional learning opportunities, facilitating student learning and assessing and providing feedback in task-based instruction. More information will be forthcoming, and so we expect to continue to also support the Administrators Academy and the Transitional Instruction Summit that occurs annually. We will also we will also focus on transitional course effectiveness as the first cohorts of students begin to collect and analyze their data. Will begin to complete and go through and complete their gateway courses. We will continue to collect and analyze the data, and hopefully it will give us a glimpse in how effective this work has been in meeting the goals set forth by the Act, and how well students are faring in these gateway courses after having had the opportunity to take transitional instruction courses. Using a variety of data collection methods, we hope to also assess the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on transitional instruction activities and learning. We will focus our work on curricular resource development as we continue to develop curricular resources for transitional English and update the current resources for transitional math. We hope to include resources around theme-based instructional units with open source text, formative and summative assessments, and the instructional scope and sequencing recommendations. So those are some resources that we hope to be able to put out over the course of the next year. And then also we will focus on developing a virtual option for transitional math and transitional English. So over the course of the next year, we will be engaging in that work as well. And we'll be engaging in that work as well. And we want to be able to provide a virtual option so that students across the state have access, or that every student basically has access to a transitional instruction course if they desire it. All right, so I know that this presentation is short, and it's intended to be, because I want to engage in some dialogue and talk with you all about any questions that you have, and to hear more about your journeys and experience with the development and implementation of transitional instruction. So I'll start and throw out the first question. Is there anybody here on the line who does not have a transitional course currently offered within their school district or their school, and as of today? Anybody? Anybody in the chat?
We had one person, Lisa, shared that she's not sure, actually. So I think it seems like this will motivate some of us to find out what it is that, we do have in our communities and our schools and
Gotcha.
yeah.
Absolutely. And that's great. So if you don't mind, that's Lisa. Lisa, if you put what community college services your area. Richland. Okay, great. So Richland is actually Richland does have a course that is submitted, and it is up for review and approval this year, or this semester at this upcoming portability panel meeting that will happen in October. Andy Hines, who I believe is the dean of math and science at Richland Community College. He is the contact for developing transitional math at that institution um, with high schools in the area. So yes, Oakton Community College and Joliet Community College do both have math pathways. Yes, English is fairly new and it launched this semester, so folks will be submitting courses for the portability panel to review and approve. Yes, College of Lake County also. So there are folks at those colleges. SWIC, yes, they have an approved course as well. The only community college is Southeastern Illinois College. They are set to submit for approval. But if your high school doesn't have a transitional instruction course, you certainly can reach out, and I encourage you to reach out to your community college partner. I would love to hear if there are any folks on the line who are currently teaching transitional instruction courses or work in a high school district where you have transitional instruction courses offered at your high school. And feel free to use the chat. Okay. Well, I see that one of our chief academic officers is in this presentation, and I'm not going to put her on the spot, but Joanne Kentner from Kishwaukee College. She's one of the members of our math portability panel, and she definitely can attest to, hello, Joanne. She definitely can attest to some of the work and activities that have been happening with the portability panel. And before I get into conversation about just the portability panel, I would love to have her, if she would like, to talk more about the implementation process that has happened at her school and some of the things that her partners are experiencing as a result of implementing transitional math.
Oh, hi, Melvin. Thank you. At Kishwaukee College, we actually started out, which I think was a big help, with a summit for transitional math, and we're hoping to do something similar for transitional English this year, where we invited faculty, the curriculum directors, and also principals, depending on the high school, to just come and get an overview about what this was, what the mandate was, and to gauge interest on who would be interested right away in doing a transitional math course. Then those that were interested, we had a more intense training on what is transitional math, the 3 pathways, what a local portability panel is, and just kind of went through the whole process, the MOU process. And again, then asked people what courses that they thought that they would want to focus on. And initially, it was quantitative literacy, with one school wanting to do the STEM math. And then from there, we worked individually with the schools to help them with that with the course that they were working on. It also helped to have them all together initially, because they kind of formed their own cohorts to be sharing information on, well, this is what we're doing for our quant lit syllabus, for example. So it made it very easy because they themselves supported each other also. And then we brought them back for kind of a final MOU and to get people to build our local panel. One of our, at the time, our associate dean, who is also a math faculty member, previously helped facilitate all this work. So she talked math to math, especially with the faculty from the high schools that were there. And then finally, then, we ourselves submit the courses that came in through the local panel after we had convened it, and took those to the state, and then kind of followed up with them. Anyone who was not approved, we were able, since I was on the state panel, we were trying to give them feedback on what they needed to do and offer them technical assistance if they did need to reapply. So that's pretty much how we did it. But like I said, I think initially we even had Kathy Almay, who was heading the project, help us with our summit to begin with. But I think the education up front and helping them build their own network was very important and instrumental for us to be able to get courses within that first year done. And all schools in our district but one have submitted at least one course and had it approved through the system.
Great, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Comments and information you provided about your experience. That was very valuable. And I hope that there's no prescription as to how folks should do it, but some of the things that have been valuable to developing and implementing transitional instruction is the availability of training and providing the appropriate level and amount of training to students. Also, I mean, not just the students, but the faculty, I'm sorry. Also, making sure that it is indeed a partnership and an alliance between the community college, the partnering community college, and the local high school district. So that is valuable as well. And so these are things that you want to make sure that you engage in so that as you move forward with your work, your courses can be can make sure that you have the appropriate level of acceptance and they can be effective in meeting the goal set out for these courses. Are there any other questions or comments or just information about transitional instruction and your experiences with it that anyone else would like to share? Okay. Feel free, if you have any other questions or anything, to contact me. I've provided my contact information here on the screen. Yes, that's the phone number to my desk. So if you ring it, I'm going to answer it.
Melvin, I'm sorry to interrupt. We do have one question from the chat.
I see it. Tell us about what the institutional plan we need to file will look like.
We're very fixated on this item at Joliet.
Okay, help me understand. I might be able to get it. I'm not sure what plan you're talking about specifically, but I would like to.
So House Bill 2170, which there's a section of it that talks about needing to do an institutional plan about, I think, how we're scaling developmental education. And then I think also about what our vision is for implementing transitional coursework. So we had been assuming we were going to submit some kind of plan to ICCB about both of those items. And if so, do you imagine ICCB will do a form like in career tech world, when we have to do the comprehensive local needs assessment, OCCRL made a nice little form that we populate. So
Right.
I just wasn't sure if you guys have even thought down that road yet, like when we need to report about scaling dev ed reform and implementing these transitional pieces, is there going to be like a specific way you want us to report out, or are you just assuming for transitional,
we
don't
haven't
worry
got-
about that because if it's gone through the
We hadn't
portability
gotten to
panel,
that
no?
yet.
Okay.
Right. We hadn't gotten to that yet. And really, we haven't really thought about how we're going to roll that out. Because we are focusing on evaluation this year and the effectiveness of these courses, we may it's not necessary right now. So more information will be forthcoming about that. And I will reach out specifically to and have more conversations with Marcus to kind of see what their thoughts are. But right now, there's not a plan for transitional instruction
Okay.
for
No,
only
that's
transitional instruction. I'll say that.
okay.
There may be something as a result of SJR 41 or something like that that requires an institutional plan that might have to include transitional instruction, but I'm not sure where transitional instruction fits into that. But I will definitely circle back around with you on that and follow up.
Great, thank you. And then
Okay.
do you have resources for unusually resistant faculty?
Unusually resistant faculty. What resistant to what exactly?
We are having a difficult time with our English faculty, getting them on board with developing transitional curriculum with the high school partners.
Gotcha.
I'm sure at some point you've been read in on that. I feel like the math folks are kind of coming along with the idea, but in terms of professional development or like whatever you're imagining in terms of learning and training, like, do you have visions for folks who are unusually resistant to change?
Well, I will say, well, we do intend to very much very similar to what we've done with transitional math. We do intend to do some developments around transitional English, just to go over and to definitely do an overview of the competencies document and course parameters document that was recently adopted and put out. We are working to collect more information from those folks who have piloted, so that we can put together possibly a panel or some sort of document, a resource document that we can share with the field to give them the opportunity to become more comfortable and familiar with it and to ask questions and to understand implementation and others' experiences. So there are plans to do more professional development and to provide training in that way. I'll make sure that when we meet again to make a note to really think about those who might be unusually resistant to implementing transitional English, particularly on among community college faculty. So we may be we have a curricular resource group that meets, and there are a lot of community college faculty from schools that have piloted it. And so I'll try to see if they can develop some sort of resource and to pitch that to them to develop a resource, particularly for community college faculty and the value that can be found in transitional instruction courses.
That would be helpful. Thank you.
Okay. I see another comment in the chat that says, our grade school has started transitional classes. They have 49 students this year. Is this part of this program? So transitional instruction courses are well, the courses that I'm talking about are high school courses taught by high school teachers, primarily for students in their senior year. And they are really intended to be an intensive experience to really get students who do not show or appear to be on track to graduating high school at a level of college readiness, to really get them to meet that point. So I'm assuming grade school means elementary school students, and so these courses would not be that. And so no, I'm not certain that they are the same. Did that answer your question, Rebecca? Thank you. Any other thoughts, comments, or questions? Okay, so again, feel free, reach out to me. I would love to hear from you, and I'm happy to answer your questions and provide technical support and assistance to the field. It's what I'm here for, so do take advantage of that. And for those of you who are community college partners, and those of you who are in districts that are preparing to submit courses, I would like to remind you that the deadline for review for this panel season, both transitional English and math, is October 1st. And you do that in the iPlacement, on the iPlacement website. Okay. Well, thank you so much for attending this TED Talk, and I promise that I will not tell anybody that you got out early. So do with these extra minutes. The moderator has more information to share, but feel free to reach out, and thank you again.
Thank you, Melvin. Just a couple of things. Thanks so much for attending this Forum for Excellence session. Please be sure to provide feedback on this session by clicking the Rate Session button in the Whova app agenda. We'd also like to take this time to direct you to our on-demand sessions. We've got some great on-demand sessions. If you go to resources and then click on demand, you can access them there. Feel free to follow us on our social media platforms for all things forum, including engagements and giveaways. So there were some cool contests going on today, and make sure to use our hashtags. Thank you to Heather for helping out, and thank you again to Melvin for speaking today. And we hope you enjoy your evening, and we will see you tomorrow.